I'm gonna make a batch of CMC gel, and I'm actually making a 4 times batch. It's usually half a cup of hot water with 1 tablespoon of the CMC powder. I'm actually gonna do 4 times that. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of hot water and 4 tablespoons of the powder. So I've already put the 4 tablespoons of the CMC gel, powder gel in there. And I have taken distilled water and heated it up in my microwave. So I've got 2 cups of hot water and 4 tablespoons of the powder. And I put the powder in first, and it just makes it a little easier. I'll show you how. Put a little water in there, and that powder really wants to push back from the water. The powder really doesn't want to absorb into the water. So I just put a little in there and just sort of mush it around. And this is a heat-safe bowl. So I get a little bit of a clumpy mess there. So I'm gonna add some more of the water. See if I can break this up a little bit. It really does want to fight you, but just hang in there. Just keep stirring. And I'm smushing it down up against the bottom of the bowl or up against the side of the bowl. Just trying to break up those clumps. Okay, I'm going to put the last little bit in. So that is 2 cups of water and 4 tablespoons of the CMC powder. And I'll mix it up a little bit. Don't work too hard, it'll get easier. Now it wants to stick to the spatula, so I actually clean that off. The water's pretty cool now. All right, that's pretty clear. Now what I do is I'll set this aside, just put this lid on it lightly. I don't want to cover it completely and snap the lid down, just a little bit, leave a little gap right here. And I'm gonna let this sit for 12 to 24 hours. I'll start again. Okay, it's been about 24 hours. And you can see all the moisture that develops on the lid. And so around the edge is very watery, and in the middle is where the sort of gel is forming. So we want to mix that up. So all this liquid water is mixed in with that gel as much as you can. All right, scrape the sides and clean this off. This is all food grade, so this isn't going to hurt you. And the reason we're scraping the sides and getting everything out of here, first, we don't want to waste any. but we don't want it to dry out along these edges and then get mixed in there. So we want this edge as clean as we can get it, and we want this so we don't waste any. All right, we'll check back in another 24 hours. All right, it's day 3. So it's been 48 hours. And let's see what it looks like. Actually, the edges seem to be very jelly-like, not as watery, so it's definitely absorbing. See how it's kind of pulling and stretching? And that's pretty much all the way through. So it feels like it's completely absorbed all the water now. But I can tell it's still a little wet. It's a little too, see how it's stretching? It'll get a little drier in the next couple of days, and it won't have this wet sort of stretchiness to it. So you could definitely use it. You would just need to reduce the recipe for your clay right now, because this is going to have extra water in it. So now it's completely incorporated. It's great CMC gel. I would just wait until day 5 where it's a little less wet, and then it stays that consistency all the way until I'm done using it, which could be months. But still continue to stir it today, tomorrow. Make sure it's all really incorporated. It's okay that I'm adding air bubbles in there. Those will go away. But you can see how stretchy it is. Yeah, it's really good right now. Okay, again, I've cleaned off the edges of the bowl, and I'm gonna clean off the spatula so I don't lose any. I wanna get every drop I can. All right, I'm gonna cover it up and stir it again tomorrow. Okay, it's the 4th day, and it's starting to look a lot better. See how it's kind of gloppy? So let me mix it up. I can still feel the wetness in it. It's a little too wet. I think tomorrow it will be perfect. Let me mix up the water as much as I can. Clean off my spatula. And the edges of the bowl. And we'll take a look at it tomorrow. Okay, here we are on day 5. And if I turn this, you can see its thickness. You see how thick that is? It's moving very slowly. That means all that water's been absorbed. And see how the bubbles haven't all come to the surface? That's because of the thickness of it. So now it is ready to use. I can stir it again. I don't need to. It's completely ready. Look at that thickness. So now it'll stay like this, whether it takes you a week to use it or a year to use it. It should stay the same consistency. I like to store mine in some type of jar like this. It could be the screw-on lid, the mason type jars, or this type, doesn't matter. But one thing that is a drawback on these is the gel gets stuck down here. So I would prefer a straight edge jar, I like to keep it sealed so that it stays the same. But find a jar that you like, or leave it right here in this heat-proof jar. The reason I don't leave it in this jar is I like to transfer it to something so that when it starts getting low, I can start making a new batch in my heat-proof bowl. But that's up to you. If you have 5 days to plan, you don't need to plan ahead. All right, that looks great. I am ready to start making clay.